Welcome to this video on the sum function in T-SQL or Transact-SQL. This is, I think, the fourth video in this series of videos where we look at the functions that are available to us in T-SQL or Transact-SQL, and it's the second numeric function we've looked at so far. The first one being the average or AVG function, and as the name suggests, numeric functions means they can only be used on numeric columns. So let's just dive into the sum function to understand what that means. The sum function basically returns the total sum of a numeric column in a table. So basically, if you have a numeric column in any table, you can use the sum function and specify that column name, and it will return to you the sum of all the numbers, or the sum of that column. And the syntax, I've put the syntax here for you. It's basically select sum, open parenthesis, specify the column name, close parenthesis, and then like any other SQL statement, you've got a from table name, where condition, and then and so on. So let's just dive into the demo, and before that, set up the environment. So I'm using Azure Data Studio because I'm on a Mac, and for others on a Mac who want to use this tool, I've got an installation guide which I'll link to in the top right corner of the screen. And for those on Windows, I'll link to my installation guide for SQL Server Management Studio in the top right corner of the screen. It's and for those on Windows, don't worry, it's just the UI that's different in both of these tools. Otherwise, everything else is the same. The code, the syntax, the logic, everything else is the same. It's just that the UI looks a bit different, but you can just follow along this video and everything should work perfectly fine. And then secondly, I will link to a GitHub repository that I've created for you specifically for this video in the description below, which has two code files. One will be a sum demo.sql, in which I'll basically keep all the queries that I've showed you in this video. And in the table setup.sql, I've basically hard-coded the sample data that I'll be using to demo this sum function to you. So if you want to follow along, you can just copy all this data, paste it in the tool that you're using, and then run it, and then you would see a table similar to this. So I'll just show you the sample table so you can get a better idea. Select star from sample data, and let's run that. So this is the sample data table. It's got an ID, first name, last name, email, gender, IP address, age, country, credit card, currency, and it's got just about 100 rows. It's a very basic table of data, and I just wanted to use it to get the point across to you of how this sum function works at a very basic level. So let's dive into it. So suppose, looking at this data, the only numeric column of data where it would actually make sense getting the sum back is this age column. So let's calculate the age of everybody in this table. And so to do that, we follow the syntax where we write select sum, open parenthesis, and specify the column name on which we want to calculate the sum, which is age in this case. And remember, it has to be numeric column type because it's a numeric function. Sum is a numeric function, so it won't work on a string or character based column. And then we can do a from table name, so in this case it's sample data. And then when we run this, we can see that the sum of all the ages in this table is 4,836. And then, like in previous functions, we can alias it. You can just write sum of ages. With the as keyword, we can create an alias and then run it just so that it's clearer to us. So we've got the heading there. And apart from that, what we can do is we can actually filter the data as well. So suppose we wanted to calculate the sum of ages of Chinese people, we can do sum of Chinese ages as the alias. And after this from sample data, we can just use a where clause to specify country as China. Make sure to match the case with the data in the table. And then when you run this, we'll get a smaller total sum of age, which is only the sum of ages of people whose country is China, or Chinese people. So yeah, and when we're filtering data, we can use all the operators and or not connectors that we had learned in previous videos. So everything should work as normal, just so that you can get really crazy with the conditions that you want and get the sum of the data that you're looking for specifically. So that's about the sum. That's a little bit about the sum function in T-SQL. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon, and like this video, comment below if you have any questions, and share this video with your friends so that we can please the algorithm and continue making more videos like these. So once again, thank you guys, and see you.